Nearly 2 million years ago, stone tools were used and are perhaps the oldest known technological invention. When we think about technology today, however, we often think about cutting-edge digital innovations. We're surrounded by it to the point where we almost take it for granted. We forget that technology is simply the application of knowledge for practical ends. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about a project I completed for work, where I took an older piece of technology, applied modern ideas to it to create something useful. This is a video about traffic lights. My name's Eren, and after graduating from my chemistry degree, I got a job on a graduate scheme with an engineering company, Bombardier Transportation. Halfway through the scheme, I decided to start a part-time master's in computer science. Despite these three subjects being very different theoretically, the reason I can switch between them is because practically the actual work you're required to do for a job in any of these sectors relies heavily on being digitally skilled. For example, here's a graph showing how your average likes per photo on Instagram varies by the amount of followers you have. Maybe it's how distance changes over time. Maybe it's how absorbance changes with concentration. Or maybe it's saying the time it takes for a program to run, the time complexity of a program. You'd need knowledge on the subject as to why these things happen, but if you were just given a set of raw data and told to make a graph like this, well, if you're doing that in the computer, now we're talking about digital skills, data handling, data visualization. And that's just one example of how digital skills is transferable in multiple different sectors. There's a growing need to be digitally adept. So why were we talking about traffic lights? Trains, believe it or not, move around. And where I work, it's especially important to be aware of train movements to keep everyone safe. On a train depot, there's a number of trains that need servicing or maintaining to keep them safe and reliable for passengers like you and me. As a result of working in this environment, it's imperative that we're aware of all the hazards, such as train movements. To ensure that these don't happen, there are a number of safeguards put in place, such as visual cues, audio cues, and designated people allowing people to cross if it's safe. I was asked whether we could develop a cost-effective solution to better apply technology to improve health and safety procedures with regards to train movements. The answer I found was yes, using traffic lights, Raspberry Pi, and a Python. More specifically, a small computer called a Raspberry Pi and a programming language called Python. Using this, we would be able to create our own bespoke traffic light system to tell people when to cross safely if a train was detected. But how can a camera like this detect if something's moving? And more so, how can a camera like this detect a train?
Here we've got two flowcharts which outline how a computer program should detect if there's a train present or if there's a train moving. We start off here by taking a video. After taking the video, we tell the computer program to look at it and ask the question, is there a train present? If there's not, we show the colour green and we continue taking a video. If there is a train present, then we ask the question, is that train that was detected moving? We can detect if there's a train present in the video by using something called artificial intelligence. I like to think of artificial intelligence as any time you're making a computer think like a human. In this case, we're telling the computer to think if there's a train present in the video. If we're asking the question if the train's moving, we either show red or orange. So if the train was detected but it's not moving, we show orange. If the train is present and it is moving, we show red. Orange means you should move with caution. Red means you shouldn't move at all. Here's how our prototype actually worked. Instead of testing it out on trains, we tested it out on keyboards. That's because due to COVID, when we were working from home, we were able to carry on working and test our setup with something that we'd have easily available. Artificial intelligence could detect multiple different types of objects, so all we had to do was replace everywhere in our code where it said train to keyboard. In setup number 1, you can see that the green light is showing, and that's because no keyboard is detected. And in setup number 2, you can see that the orange light is showing. That's because a keyboard's detected, but it's not moving. And in setup number 3, the red light's showing, and that's because a keyboard's detected and the computer thinks that there's movement.
So that's one project I completed in my workplace, where we took technology of traffic lights, applied the technology of artificial intelligence, and combined the two to create a solution to a problem. Using digital skills is becoming increasingly more important, and in a world where computers can detect objects as well, or if not better, than humans can to make things safer, it's all the more important that we apply new digital technologies to as many sectors and job roles as possible. And to do that, we all need to work on our digital skills.